Hi guys, it's Paul from Nirvana Central here again. Back with another new video. This time it's about the band that everyone seems to be talking about. It seems to be creating real buzz in the music business, and that is Angine de Poitrine. And I'll also, seeing as this is a Nirvana channel, be as well as looking at them and their background, looking at whether I think they could be the new Nirvana. So with that in mind, keep watching and let's get into it. So to start with, I just want to run down a little bit on Angine de Poitrine, who they are, sort of music they play. I'm a bit late to the party with these guys, I must admit, because I think they've been blowing up since the start of the year, really, but it seems to have really picked up lately. I first came across them when I was searching through YouTube just for music to look at. Obviously, Nirvana are my favourite band, but I do listen to other bands. I do, have other genres of music that I listen to. And I do really like experimental, sort of avant-garde type thing, the performance arty type stuff, because it just tends to be quite interesting and something different just from the mainstream stuff you get. So these guys come up, and immediately, just from the thumbnail on the YouTube vid, I could see it was going to be something quite interesting because of the costumes and the set design. So that got my attention and I clicked on it, and when I actually heard the music, I was really, really impressed. I think they're amazing. I can't stop listening to them. They're probably my new favourite band, and they're just brilliant. Not only in terms of how good they are musically, but in terms of how good the songs are, how groovy it is. But we'll go into sort of all that later and why I like them. For now, in terms of the background, I assume they were French, because I think the footage I saw was like a French performance. But they're actually Canadian when I've looked at it online. So they're a Canadian duo. It's one person on drums. The other person, he plays a double guitar, but it's a bass and a guitar. So they have got a bass and guitar, but one guy plays both. He also plays a load of pedals, which is very impressive because that's not easy. I know, I play guitar, so to be in control of how many he does, especially with all the looping, is really impressive. And I guess if I was to say what sort of music, I say it's sort of like quite experimental. I would say sort of math or microtonal rock. But I think why they're so unique and so good is that I think it's almost got elements of like house music, dance music in there. It's quite groovy and funky. But probably the best way, actually, if I can do this, but I'm not sure if I can actually. I was going to flip my camera around. But the best way to really probably give an idea of what I like is to actually play some of them. So I have got him set up on the TV here, but I'm not entirely sure how to flip my screen around. Let me just press something here. Hold on a sec. You can tell this is professional. No, it doesn't really do anything. So let me just turn my phone round. I'll put it on, and then you guys can have a listen, and I'll talk about why I like him so much in a minute. Right, guys, so just put that on pause so you can hear me. How do I do that? There you go, done it. So yeah, that gives you a bit more of an idea of what they sound like, as well as me explaining it. So in the next section, I will talk about why I like them so much. So the reasons I like Angine de Poitrine so much is, as I say, I really love just the experimental sort of avant-garde nature of not only the music, but also just the overall look and feel. I really like the costumes and the set design, where it brings something new to the performance. Also adds a bit of mystery as well, which is makes it more interesting, because obviously you don't know who's under the costumes, you don't know who they are. I like just the music. As I say, it's nice that it blends that sort of microtonal rock sound with, I think, almost like house dance music. So the songs are very catchy and they're very funky and groovy. So they're not only impressive technically, they're really good to listen to. And I think that does help them stand out, because a lot of other acts in that sort of genre are very rock focused. And so I don't think it has the same groove and the same feel, and it's not as enjoyable to listen to. And obviously both of them are amazing players. I'm a guitarist myself, as I say, so I know to play, not only just play the guitar as well as that guy does is amazing, but to do that with a double guitar, controlling all them pedals, staying on top of all the loops, you know, all that is amazing. So I like that, and I just like the riffs. I like, again, with being the microtonal stuff, I like the sound of it. I like how a lot of the riffs on the guitar almost got that Middle Eastern, Arabic, African influence that makes it a bit different, a bit interesting. The drum is amazing. The beats he puts down are brilliant, especially switching between the time signatures. So very impressive. So yeah, and it's just different. It's just different. And I think that's what we need at the minute. Because even in rock and indie, everything sounds the same. Everyone looks the same. You know, all the melodies sound the same. You know, it's all just seems to be mainstream pop at the minute. Everything sounds the same. Everything looks the same. All like people do is try to build a career. And that cuts across pop, rock, indie, everything. It's all the same. Everyone's using the same plugins and the same things to record and the same instruments. So this is brilliant because it's different, and also it dares to be different. It takes risks. It just says, this is what we like playing. We're just going to play it, and you know, what happens, happens. And that's really brave, and I take my hat off to him for that. And probably the best recommendation I could give is immediately, that was the clip I actually first heard. And it instantly made me smile, because it was that like, but it made me smile because it was just so like, wow, what is this? And it also, and this is actually, probably I'll talk about this slightly in the next section, where I think there's a connection with Nirvana, but they made me go and pick the guitar up. And that's the first time a band have had that effect on me, basically since Nirvana. As soon as I'd listened to that clip, the first thing I did was stop it, and was I couldn't wait to pick the guitar up and try and play what they were playing. And I think, you know, that says it all, really. So yeah, I just think they're amazing, they're brilliant, I love them. So let's go on to the next section, since this is a Nirvana channel, as to why I think maybe they could be the next Nirvana. Hey guys, so I'm going to walk around a bit now, around the house. Not there's much interesting to see. Try and stay away from the windows, actually, just for the light. Not that it's like, don't live in South Central LA or anything. So Yeah, so could Angine de Poitrine be the new Nirvana? So I'm going to say why I think they could be to start with. I think the simple reason I think they could be is that just the impact they're having. Their impact, not to the same extent, and I know Nevermind sold gazillions of albums and, etc., etc. So I'm not suggesting they've done that. But I just think the impact they've had that same sort of impact where they've shut people up and they've made people realise there is an alternative to the mainstream and there is lots of good music being made outside of the mainstream, and that you can like alternative bands and that's fine, and there is lots of great alternative bands you can get into. And I think they've just really shaken people up and shaken music up and had that really reinvigorating, refreshing impact, which is great, which is what Nirvana did, obviously. When Nevermind hit, that's exactly the impact they had. Everyone sort of started looking at music outside of the mainstream and saying, hang on a minute, this is just as good, if not, well, it was better, than certainly the mainstream pop and stuff like that. And so I think there's that connection there between the two. Also, I think in terms of, as I say, the fact that Angine de Poitrine are just doing what they feels right musically and what they feel and what they're passionate about. And that's exactly what Nirvana did and Kurt did. He played the music he wanted to play, and he would have done that whether it blew up or not. And I think obviously these guys are doing the same. They're playing that microtonal rock, which is quite a small niche normally, but they're just doing it because they love it. So I think there's that connection there. And I think they will build up a large dedicated fan base as well. I'm not saying maybe to the same extent, but I think they will, like Nirvana, build up a good fan base of real die-hard fans who love them. And the sort of band you can fall in love with, like Nirvana were, because there's more to it than just the music. And then also I do think with the microtonal side of Angine de Poitrine, they've got that sort of almost like noisy dissonant side to them of the music, while still being catchy and good to listen to and groovy. The guitars have got that sort of dissonant type sound at times, and obviously Nirvana had that as well. Certainly, if you look at a lot of the guitar solos, especially live, they were very noisy and chaotic. So I think there's that connection. And I just think they seem to be quite, Angine de Poitrine, from what I've seen, because I've seen a few other clips, or I've not seen them live yet, but from just watching them perform live on YouTube and things, they seem quite charismatic performers and like strong performers who know how to draw a crowd in. And obviously Nirvana were brilliant live, so they've got that connection as well. Where you'd say maybe not that they could be the next Nirvana is purely just how wide their appeal is. Because at the end of the day, the majority of people still like a traditional song with vocals they can understand and sing along to, and a nice verse and an uplifting chorus and what have you, which obviously ADP don't really have. Their songs out in the traditional format, so that will say where you would say, well, probably they're not going to do Nirvana. And it's just whether basically they get picked up by a major and get the marketing and the push that they would need, because to sell like Nevermind did and to become big like Nirvana, you do need basically a lot of marketing and money behind you and influence. So it's whether they get that, which I'm not sure what label they're on at the minute, but suppose time will tell. Hey guys, so that's wrapping up. Can Angine de Poitrine be the new Nirvana? Essentially, to be honest with you, it doesn't really matter. They're their own band, they'll follow their own path, and I hope they carry on doing what they do, because I personally love it. If you're listening, guys, I think you're amazing. Keep up the good work. And to all my other viewers and listeners, thank you for joining me again. Remember to share, like, hit subscribe, and I shall see you again soon. Goodbye.